And welcome to another edition of the Big Knick Energy Podcast. I believe this is number 26. We've deleted half of them. Who knows? Check out our sponsor, Empire Original Designs at jointheempire.com, the East Coast #1 challenge coin manufacturer, the home of challenge coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Knick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's at jointheempire.com. I'm your host, Joe Yoke, the Ball Kid Wonder. This is Burt Knickerbocker, a.k.a. BKE Burt, a.k.a. this man has a mustache that will make Ryan Reynolds and Channing Tatum both cry at the same time. How the hell you doing, buddy?
Good today, man. Good today. Trying to keep it right, kind of trying to do it, keep that energy up, Big Knick energy every day.
Get it right, get it tight.
That's it.
Burt, so we're just going to jump right into it. That game, man, I'm sick. I'm sick of the Nets. I'm sick of the Bulls. I'm sick of the refs. I think I speak for all of New York when I say sick of the refs, but starting with the Bulls from last night, what'd you feel?
Man, I can't give enough blame to Anthony Davis. That Anthony Davis flu, man. It's really messing with our vibe. Now RJ's out, Sims is out. Who knows what's going to happen after this? So aside from that, though, it was a good game for 3 quarters, per usual.
Yeah. They just switched the first quarter into the third quarter. Usually
exactly.
The third quarter is tragic yep. Bronson. And then the first quarter, like the first, second, and fourth were not bad in. Actually, so one of the questions I wanted to ask the guest we were supposed to have on today, which I'm not going to spoil it because when we do have him on, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Really a New York Knick legend and New York media legend as a whole. But yep. I was going to ask, and I'll ask it to you instead. We do always come out. We've been coming out flat for the first and the third, specifically the third quarter, but even the first quarter a lot since Thibs took over. What do you contribute that to? Because it's not as easy as like Alfred Payton sucked last year, so that ruined that. Because we took Alfred out for a couple games that didn't happen as much. It still happened though. Yeah. This year it's like everyone's like, well, take Kemba out. He had the worst plus minus in the league. Right. And he went over 200 minutes, but it's like game and a half since then hasn't really looked better. So what the heck happens at the beginning of quarter halves in the game?
Who knows, man? I really being in that experience, like coming out flat, it could just be a mental thing where you're thinking too much in the locker room about what you should do. And then when you actually get into the game, you're just not doing it. It could be just, I don't know, maybe these guys are eating too much in the locker room at halftime. Everybody says, oh, Thibs maybe not getting on him enough. Have you heard Thibs yelling? He's a loud guy. He's getting on him at the halftime. So I don't know. I really don't have an explanation because now it's the first. Usually it's the third. And I'm not even saying it's not even a new thing. My whole life, they've been dropping the ball in the third quarter, coming out flat. So I really no idea, no concept of it. I think it's the hardest thing to do to play 48 minutes consistently. So I give them a little grace, but because it's so consistently inconsistent in the third quarter, I really don't know what to say.
Yeah, they lost 119-115 last night. The Nets game, even, I just was not about that either. I just don't understand. I feel like referees really have it out for New York. I don't actually think that. I know that's a very Twitter-based take, but
I have a theory about RJ that his first year, he was always asking for those fouls because he would drive hard, he'd get contact, and they wouldn't say anything. And he would start complaining. And I think once the refs saw this young guy coming in, telling me how to do my job, they're like, that's a wrap for this guy. We're not going to call anything. So same thing with Julius. Julius comes in, he gets one bad call and he does complain. Once you get that reputation, the refs don't want to give you anything.
You can tell when a dude is already complaining because if you make baskets in your first move instead of being hyped up, especially like Julius made a basket last night that wasn't an and one, but it could have been. And they pulled him within 1 or 2. And instead of him being hyped up for the crowd and hyped up for the game, he's immediately yelling at the referee. And that definitely pulls over into the rest of your players, the rest of your teammates.
For sure. If they know, because I've been on teams with a lot of different guys and I've played on teams that have all saints. Everybody's respectful to the refs. And that goes a long way. When it is a 50-50 call, they're going to give it to someone they like. So with Randle always talking, if RJ starts talking and who knows who else is saying things to him at halftime or here or there, And once that happens, you get that reputation. The next time the ref sees you, they remember. They remember all the things you said. You think it's the heat of the game, but they remember because that's their job. So, yeah, I think it goes a long way if you start skinning the sheep, as they say, right?
I would say it's definitely got to be a trickle down effect too, because it's like Thibs, who's known for
Oh,
defensive intensity, and
definitely.
he like obviously, if it's up to Thibs, man, hand checking from the '90s would still be a thing. You know, he wouldn't be
Yes.
taking that out.
Yes.
And they're letting
Yes.
them play a little more this year than in years past, trying to get rid of like the James Harden, Trae Young foul.
Yeah.
Emmanuel
Thank God.
quickly even took advantage of it his rookie year quite a bit. He's not
And
getting
now
those
he's
as
not
much
even
anymore.
looking for those.
Well, there's no reason to. You're not going to get the
Yeah.
call. So it's like,
No, it's great.
I do wish IQ would actually develop a mid-range that's not a floater, because you could tell when he's like 15, 18 feet away and he's open, like
Yeah.
it's too far to float, and he's not just pulling up from three. He just doesn't actually have a mid-range game, speaking of
Definitely.
IQ. But what do you think of, because I haven't actually had you on before, and you're gonna be ideally the new co-host from now on. What do you think of the season as a whole? We're 11-11, tied for 10th place. I mean, the East is much stronger than it has been in years past. Teams like the Wizards, the Cavs, the Bulls obviously are now ahead of us, and we never
Yep.
saw. I mean, at least two of them we didn't see coming. So how do you think
Yep.
the season's been going?
Honestly, I'm glad the East is doing better. I like to see the Cavs doing better. I think when they got Jarrett Allen, it was a really good pickup, and I thought they were kind of last season really not doing what they had to. So this year, I'm glad that they're playing better. It makes the East more competitive. As far as the Knicks, though, I mean, we're playing like a 500 team. I mean, we're playing at a barely 500 team. So I'm not really surprised that we're sitting there at 11-11. I mean, there's a lot of games that we wish we won. I think we should have beat Orlando. We didn't. I think
Quite.
and then there was a lot of games too that were close that we did win that we might have should have lost. Maybe that Boston game to open the season.
Yeah.
But
they haven't won 2 in a row since October.
yeah,
Which is
see, and
rough.
that is rough. So as far as like the series, the season as a whole, I like it, man. I like the Knicks. I like what we're doing because I like our young guys and I love where they're growing to. And you can see their mentality in that growth. And that is, to me, is just really bodes well for the future. No matter what happens, trade people, draft some more people, get a superstar. I don't care. At the end of the day, the culture is shifting and we're rewarding people for hard work, determination, and hard-nosed defense. And New Yorkers love that. I love that. I think most Knicks fans do.
I agreed entirely. I feel like the blue collar work ethic, like the
Oh,
60-hour work week, just translates to what New York City is through and through. And this team really, especially under Thibodeau, emulates that. You for half the game at least. Then the other half of the game, they're complaining about foul calls that they wouldn't want on the
Yeah.
defensive end. I really just think they got to stop complaining so much, man. I mean, I get
Oh,
they're
without a
lucky
doubt.
that Tibbs and Julius didn't get fined, and then
Oh,
Taj immediately gets
big
kicked
time.
out 3 minutes into a game, and he
Yeah.
never complains. It's just
Mhm.
like their mentality is as helter skelter as the refereeing we're seeing. And it's just
Yep.
really it's aggravating.
No, I agree. I mean, you got to know when to not say anything. I think it was hilarious. Clyde was on the broadcast saying, because he's never got a tech, never got a tech in his whole career, never got kicked out. And I think that even goes to high school and elementary school and everything. So to go that long without ever getting a tech is wild. And he
On
just
a
says,
separate note,
oh,
have you ever seen anyone get kicked out of an elementary school game? Because that sounds hilarious.
no. I'm going to have to look on YouTube, though. I think that you could probably find a highlight of some kid just thrashing all the chairs, throwing things
Yeah.
like, ah.
Little Bobby Knight's grandson.
Sure. But Clyde says, oh, he just gives him a look, like puts his hands on his hip, gives him a look like, are you kidding me? And honestly, like you got to know that the refs aren't going to change their call. They're not going to change it. They're not going to even look at what you're talking about, really. Like 9 times out of the 10,
Especially not in the first quarter. They don't care.
no. How they're calling it is how they're calling it. You can't really say anything. You can say, oh, that's not a foul. And guess what? They'll say, well, I called it, so it is a foul. And that's it. So definitely got to learn to bite your tongue. Got to learn, when it's the coach's job to actually talk to them. Like I had some great coaches growing up that would say, don't talk to them. I don't want you getting kicked out. I'll talk to them, when it's time to do that. Let me take the technical. Let me get kicked out because you're the player on the floor. You got to stay in the game. So Taj regardless how you feel about the call, regardless of how you feel, if he deserved to be thrown out, they threw him out. And if you look at it, he was going, oh, two, whatever he was saying to the refs.
He should have stopped.
He should have stopped because he should know better that once he got the one, it's time to stop, time to back down. Because especially last night, he was invaluable to us. We needed him, and he wasn't there.
I want to separate it from the referee thing. I want to ask you how, because obviously without Taj, Noel was already out of the game, and Sims being sick. And also they have to like send Sims down at some point. They want to keep his two-way thing going. So we need Taj, Noel, and Mitch to all actually be healthy at the same time.
Definitely.
But running Randle at the 5 with 4 guards at the end, not even with Obi out there, just was Randle, Rose, quickly, Burks, and Fournier.
Yep.
What did you think of the closing lineup? Because obviously we were tied at one point. We lost by 4 at the end. Offensively, I feel like we moved the ball quite a bit. Like there's obviously a lot of opening. And then the last 3 minutes, the same as ever. Julius just does ISO ball. They have 4 guards with Derrick Rose,
and that's
great ball handler. Burks has been clutch in the fourth quarter for us, and they're not like they're just doing ISO Randle anyway. Which I get Randle and Vucevic is a mismatch. You should be able to get past them every time. But between that and then the defensive end, we just like stopped boxing out. I like watching someone like Alex Caruso, like the Alex Carusos of the world, the Avery Bradleys of the world, Patrick Beverly, like to watch a dude that's 6'5", 6'6" get rebounds because 3 of you were standing around. Just
infuriating.
Really bothered the crap out of me.
Infuriating, without a doubt. I can't stress it enough. You know, you got to make those foul shots. So Randle has the mismatch, gets past Vucevic, and gets fouled, misses a layup, and goes for 2 and misses it. And it's I think he even had an and 1. He missed the extra point, and that's just not gonna cut it. I mean, I'm okay with Julius going ISO. I trust Julius completely because he is that guy. He's shown that when you give him a mismatch, he can score, period. But maybe with 4 shooters out there, kick it out, do something a little different. And that's why, but the reason the 4 shooters are out there just to pull everybody out of the paint so that Randle can specifically attack it. And whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know. There's a million ways to attack basketball. I trust in it because Randle has done it so many different times where that mismatch to me is guaranteed money. So I see why they go for it. And even I think IQ got the ball.
To follow up on that, I want to, before you get off Randle real quick, IQ, I want to ask you as a follow-up to that. Do you have faith in it for the whole game, or do you have faith in it? Because I have faith in it for 3.5 quarters. And then watching Randle the 2+ years he's been a Knick now, I don't actually get like a clutch gene out of him. You know, I don't feel Kobe Bryant. I don't even feel Melo out of it. Like he can take mismatches. Dude, Melo, for what it's worth, like
I know
one of the tops in the league for game-winning shots in his career.
Yep.
But like I just don't like, I love it up until 4 minutes left and then like move the ball around.
It's a tough call because if he makes the shot, everyone's, oh my God, it's so amazing. But if he misses it, then it's all the slander.
See, I get to interject here because I got a take on this one. So Julius is a little bit in between facilitating and being a scorer. So with this new lineup, I think I was listening to Alan Hahn say it last night actually, and he said there's a bunch of like older guys who've never played together, and the younger unit plays together well. They've been playing together for a while. So Julius is out there kind of taking on a new role. Last year he was the obvious scorer. Now he's like, okay, I got 3 other guys around me who can score just as well. Now I got to be in between. If I'm on a streak, I'm going to shoot. If I'm off, I got to pass and facilitate.
Yeah.
What was the take to that? You were just saying, you just basically repeated. I thought you were going to give an opinion on that.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. Like you guys are talking about Julius in the fourth quarter late. It's like, so he's got to play 2 roles now. Sometimes he's got to be Batman and sometimes he's got to be Robin. So it's like on the games where he's playing Batman, we love it.
Do you guys think that? I personally think I'd rather still have the ball in Rose's hands overall, like at least at the end, not like the whole game. But I'd rather Derrick Rose be the one facilitating.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Clyde always says it. A point guard is the hardest thing to teach, and the reason it's hard to teach is you have to know when it's time to attack, when it's time to pass, what you're looking at, and how to get around it. And that's so difficult, especially at the NBA level, because everything is just rotating so quickly. So
I'm going to attribute Julius's turnovers to them making him play point forward.
Oh yeah.
If he wasn't facilitating as much, those numbers wouldn't be where they are.
Without a doubt. I mean, look at where all his turnovers were against Chicago. It's when he turned his back to his defender and somebody else came around and took it from him.
A lot of ball and Caruso on the backside.
Oh yeah, and they knew as soon as Randle turned his back, go over and take the ball.
Let's not forget Caruso is number 6 in steals in the league, so he's phenomenal at what he does.
Yeah. Yeah,
and having a Julius, he recognized Julius's weakness on the backside, just double team and take that. So
And I think most of it actually happened when he was on the right side, looking with his back, looking over his left shoulder, dribbling with his right hand. Just come right in. That's his blind spot and his weak hand.
Because
Easy
you're not
money.
going to be towards, if you're next to the baseline, you're not assuming someone's coming baseline side to steal from you anyway. You're already
Yeah.
against the end.
Yeah, I mean, in his ball handling is definitely a problem, especially if you're going to be a facilitator, because you need to keep your dribble. That's why, I mean, IQ is such a nice upgrade because he keeps the ball alive. And that's the big difference between a point guard and someone who's a power forward trying to pretend to be a point guard.
I want to actually ask you guys based on that, because I don't think this is one thing about referees real quick, that like IQ can get away with this. And like, it's like the old Allen Iverson thing. Tell me, like, at least half the time you watch IQ dribble that he's not carrying. You literally see him do those pump fakes, and I'm like, yo, he definitely had the ball.
Oh, like, does he put,
under,
oh yeah.
No, he literally, and he just, because
Sure.
he's small and fast and like kind of hides behind people. It's like,
Sure.
I know you're cheating, bro.
But that's it. I mean, they don't call it a carry, so it's legal. So
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, does he carry? Oh yeah, sure. He definitely carries. He's not the worst in the league, I don't think, but specifically when you said it, that hesitation, he for sure puts it up. But if they don't call it, I'm happy. So
just to get off of that, I wanted to bring up centers real quick, because the one issue, the other part towards the end of the game, like with us playing Julius the 5 and the 4 guards, was no rim protection. And that hurt a lot. You just kept hearing Clyde over and over again. When the cat's not in the cage, the mice are gonna play.
Yeah. No, he said
over and over again.
He said when the cat's away, the mice will play. That's what he always says.
And it's just like
frustrating.
without Mitch for sure. And then even Noel's not as big, but Noel's like one of the best help defenders in the league. Like Julius isn't like a guy that jumps out of the gym. He's like good at like standing up to his man, like one-on-one, like not letting him get by, but like he's not a rim protector. And that really hurt us towards the end. Between that and then fucking DeRozan just drilling mid-range shots.
Oh yeah, he's a G. Yeah,
every time Lonzo Ball took a 3, I was like, yes. And every time DeRozan took a 2, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, I was the same way for sure. When Lonzo missed that one, he did that one dribble and pulled up in the corner and clunked.
He missed like 3 in a row.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It was good. But no rim protection though with Randle, and he's not gonna step in the lane. He's not gonna do that because he's not gonna get hurt defending, contesting a shot like that. It's just not who he is, and I don't expect him to do that. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with our small ball lineup is he doesn't even really pretend to rotate and cover. And especially if Fournier's in there too, then it's all over, because neither of those guys are going to rotate into the lane. They're not going to take a charge. Randle will go up and try to block it. If it's a layup, he'll go up and try to block it.
Fournier did have active hands last night. He had like 3 steals.
A lot better than normal for sure. Sure. But he's still not a rim protector. I mean, it's just, I think he had a block last night, a good one too, but that's just not typical for him. So even though he got it,
Evan Fournier to be your 4 when he plays the 2 naturally, you're definitely giving up size.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, I mean, it's a major issue. And I think it's all anchored at Mitch. I mean, even Noel does a good job. And I think he did a great job bringing us into the playoffs last year. But without Mitch, it's noticeable how our defense just plummets as far as rim protection, pick and roll protection. But then Noel's the only one who can really go out to the 3-point line. So your answer for Vucevic was right there. You could have Noel on him, and he's fast enough to get out. He can cover the pick and roll and get back. But no Noel, and you see what happens.
Mitch, for all of his defensive glory around the rim, cannot cover the 3-point line. You know how, like, whenever you hear, especially just watching him, like in the past couple of years, like they'll always talk about Mitch is one of the best at getting 3-point blocks. They're always on guards. It's he actually doesn't cover. If there's a 5 that's a shooting 5, like Vooch, we got Jokic tomorrow. That's always a problem.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
And then Cat, for example, Karl-Anthony Towns, like the 3 of them always light Mitch up, because it's like they're like, we know you're the same size of us, but like you can't cover us at the 3-point line, and we're just gonna shoot up the whole game.
Well, either he on the pick and roll, either he stays really close to the center and the guard just keeps going all the way to the hole, or he falls back, stops the guard, and now you get the 3-pointer. So
wide open threes.
Yeah, I kind of live with that though. I was saying it this morning. I live with that because Vucevic shooting a 3-pointer is way less risk than DeMar DeRozan getting a layup. I'd rather, or Alex Caruso or Lonzo Ball getting a layup. I'd rather Vucevic shoot than get a
I don't know,
layup.
man. I've seen Caruso shoot layups. I'd much rather him shoot a layup than Vooch
You're
get
funny.
open.
Yeah, so I don't know. You
I
kind of
look
live
like
with it.
Caruso. I can say that.
Yeah, right. But I don't know. I live with it, and it's I know he's a NBA league average shooter, Vucevic. I think he's at 30-something% for three, and noticeably so last night. But he still missed some, and I don't know if you pull Mitch out too to cover the three. Now the guy misses the three, but then you still miss the layup anyway, or you miss the rebound anyway because.
Because if Randle's still on his man, no one else
Oh
on our
yeah,
team really.
and we have nobody in the
Barrett
center.
rebounds relatively well for his size, but
Oh
if
yeah,
it's not Randle or the center, then we're not getting it half the time.
no. So you can't really expect Rose or Burks or Fournier or a lot of people to our guards to give even the long ones they've been giving up. So I don't know. I like that Mitch stays home. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I like that Mitch stays home, and I'm okay with Vucevic shooting threes. I really am because
Yeah,
he's gonna miss 10. But oh man, I just had a flashback that Miles Turner game. No, yeah, no. So I don't know. It's like I kind of live with those. I wish he played it better, but at the same time, what's
he's
worse?
like
I mean,
he plays like he's scared out there is the worst part. That's the part that like he
Mitch.
just looks like not like out on the court overall. It's just when his guy steps behind the line. Like he literally looks
Yeah,
like I don't want to get too close. Oh, I shot it.
yeah. He doesn't want
That's
to
the part
get.
that blows my mind.
He doesn't want to jump. He doesn't want to get caught in the air and give up a foul first.
Yeah, because he
He
was
doesn't want
notorious for that. Yeah,
to. So he doesn't want to give up the foul first, which is good. But two, he doesn't want to give up anybody to the lane because I'm pretty sure Thibs probably told him, "You're the guy. There, if you let your guy go, nobody's helping you. You are the guy. So you got to stay in front of him. And if you get too close on the 3-pointer, you give your guy a dunk, and you're gonna see the bench for the rest of the day probably."
yeah. Which I mean, we'll do what we can do with that. Honestly, I was gonna ask
Yeah,
one more thing before because we have to cut this kind of short, unfortunately.
sure.
Burt, I'm excited for us to be on way more together.
Yeah.
This is gonna be exciting overall. Um, what do you think the future holds for the New York Knicks center position? Do you think it's Mitch? I mean, Noel for all of
Yeah.
his defensive glory,
Yeah.
it's like backup only. Do you think Sim
No.
steps up, or do you think we make a deal for
I
someone?
think Sims can step up. I think we keep Mitch. I think we keep honestly, I'm so positive it's almost gross that I think we keep Mitch. I think we keep
It'd
Noel.
be
I
a
think
good
we keep
dynamic because I'm
Sims.
much more of a negative realist person.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's a lot of Knicks fans, and it took me a lot of just blind confidence. And honestly, this last season really gave me a lot of positive to see because I can see where Thibs is taking this team, where the FO is really looking, and the guys they're drafting are showing that this culture is changing. Like, yeah, Toppin might have been a weird choice for where he was selected, and I think people were disappointed when he came out his first year. But now look at him. He put in that work, and him and IQ got some of the best dunks this year
Yeah.
because of their connection, because they are both hard workers and they're both being rewarded for that hard work.
The
And
two of
now,
them in rows being out there every game together helps so
oh
much with
yeah,
continuity.
oh yeah, and that spreads. So now you know, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, that's how I get minutes. So look at Sims. He's not the brightest on offense yet because he's still a rookie, but he knows if I put in this defense work, if I show up and shoot my free throws at practice and I show noticeable improvement, he'll get minutes. Same thing
Yeah.
with Mitch. Mitch put on that strength, so now he can guard the big guys in the low post. And then we have Noel to guard the guys who can shoot threes. I think honestly, between the two, we have a very competent center position. The problem is keeping them both healthy. But I think Sims steps up too. Honestly, he's got the build. He's got the reaction time to get blocks. He's got what he needs to get rebounds, big shoulders.
He's a great
strong base.
fro, solid 1980s,
Oh yeah,
90s rap
oh
haircut.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
the
You
fro.
can't discount the hair game, man. Our team's got a good hair game. I saw quickly with his blown out was nice.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way. Honestly, I'm not really for trading a lot. I'm not really for. I mean, if someone wants to come in free agency, that's great too. I'm not going to deny. Karl Anthony Towns wants to sign in free agency. I'll take him, really.
Yeah.
But I'm not really for trading everybody, and I don't think Mitch is going to request a lot of money
So
for
you're
his
not
new
looking
contract.
You're not looking up on Twitter the 30,000th time of Damian Lillard to the Knicks because they just fired their GM.
Didn't he just have? Isn't he something with his abdomen is hurt? Weren't they saying?
Yeah,
something
he's out for 10 games.
And he should have. And I just heard something about it.
They fired their GM today though.
Yeah, but they just I just heard that the injury happened in Tokyo, and he was still playing on it, played through it, and now he might need surgery and yada yada. So I don't know. That's a big question mark for me. If he was playing and ready to play, I'd say okay, but
it's a great buy low opportunity.
Well, that's it too. Maybe so with all the turnover there, maybe so. But I don't even like to entertain ideas of trading away Toppin, IQ, RJ, but leave it to a lot of old head Knicks fans. Like my pops, he will not even entertain the idea of IQ or Toppin being part of the future because he just assumes the Knicks are going to trade him away. So he doesn't even want to get like attached to them, It's like I can't get attached to these guys. And I made the mistake. Oh, I'm full in. I'm attached. I don't want to.
How old are you?
Just 29, bro. 29. I'll be 30.
You're nice. You're you born in 92?
Yeah.
The year after me and Vin. Maybe in the next 365 days because I'm starting as you get older. You're like, we've never won a title.
Oh,
every team that wins a title is not Giannis. They're all LeBron hopping from great team to great team.
Yeah.
It's like. The thing about loving players for basketball way more so than any other sport, I guess hockey would be the same because it's the same amount of people on the ice.
Yeah.
Well, goalies, so there's 6 versus 5, but like baseball, football, like they all have so many players. It's like they're almost interchangeable. Like outside of the quarterback, like everyone else is like second wide receiver, third wide receiver. Who cares? For basketball, only 5 dudes are on the court. It doesn't matter how much you love the 8th, 9th, 10th guy in your team.
Yeah.
You need the best 5.
That's true. But I think our young guys have the potential to be the best 5 because you can't teach determination, hard work. You can't teach those things. And our guys have it, so I like them and I want to keep them. But I'm open to whatever happens, really. I have my hopes and wishes. But in those fantasies, it's also Toppin's a perennial all-star. IQ is like, 6th man of the year every year.
Happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so these are all just
part,
fantasies to me, sure. But in a perfect world, I mean, all these guys that we drafted and we enjoy, grow and keep getting better for us. Like, look at Chris Middleton. Before Chris Middleton got a championship, people are like, oh, do they need him? Should they trade him? It's like, who is this guy? And now it's like, oh, now he's like the piece that we need, Now, and it just changes the narrative overnight. So I think
Chris Middleton's the opposite of Randle. He literally just doesn't have the ball most of the game, and then he's only clutch in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, it's true. But look at how people talk about him 2 years ago versus how they talk about him now. And I see in Quickly, in Toppin, in RJ that they can get to that level, I think.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah.
If you were to rank the 5 best players on the team right now, who's your first 5?
Ooh, 5 best players?
5 best players on the team, right? Regardless of position. Because I have an idea of what the answers are going to be. And then I'm gonna follow up with why why we need a trade at some point.
Sure. Randle, Rose. I don't know about Burks and Fournier. Can I put them at the same? Burks and Fournier.
I mean, that would be 3 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put Burks as 3. I'll put RJ at 4, and then I'll put Fournier at 5. I think.
So what you just said, which I think IQ at his peak it should be in there. I actually think IQ might be better than RJ the more and more we watch both of them.
Yeah.
It's like RJ's a better defender, but IQ just like so much for the team on an energy standpoint. But regardless, it was Randle and 4 guards. That's why regardless of whichever 4 of the 5 guards you pick, it's like you didn't say Mitch, Noel, Sims, Taj. That's why we need someone that like to get our 5 to be the best 5, the championship level where your dad's like, fuck it, trade the house to get somebody. It's because they don't actually match up on the court to guard all 5 positions.
100%. But I think I'm biased just because like everybody else, you're gonna pick people who are more offensive minded. You're not typically gonna pick the guy who only plays defense as your top 5. So
this is true. I mean, Noel's our number 1 defender on the team, and he would make the top 7 of the players on the team.
Yeah, so I think just that by default, if you're gonna ask me top 5, everybody's just gonna default to your top 5 offensive powers, and that's what I did, of course. So, but yeah, you proved the point, though. I mean, we are desperately missing an offensive-minded center. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, We'll hopefully get them sooner or later. Burt, real quick for the first podcast that you're on, just mention for everyone where to find you. Do some plugs.
Big Nick Burt. You can find me on Twitter, Big Nick Burt. You can find me on YouTube, Big Nick Burt. That's all I am, baby. I'm on Reddit too, General Commander Burt. If you feel like finding me on Reddit.
I like that one, General Commander Burt.
Yeah. And Gmail, bignickburt@gmail.com.
Let's go. If anyone wants to send Burt questions to ask for
Send
future podcasts,
some fan mail. I will answer to my best of my ability.
I love it. And if not, we could ask someone. We can start doing mailbags.
We should.
With that, let's go Knicks. Let's beat the Nuggets.
Let's go Knicks.
Again, check out our sponsor, Empire Original Designs at jointheempire.com, the East Coast's #1 challenge coin manufacturer. Home of challenge coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Nick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's at jointheempire.com. I'm Joey Oak. That's Big Nick Burt. Modelo Beckham's the one that interjects randomly with his mic too loud. Let's go Knicks. Peace.
Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks.